Greetings, luminous souls. Have you ever experienced challenges or struggles with anxiety, depression, and addiction? Well, I've experienced all of them in an extreme way and managed to overcome all of them as well through working with spiritual technologies, which I'm going to share with you today. So if becoming anxiety, depression, and addiction free and stepping into the best version of yourself sound like the path that you'd like to take, well then I invite you to tune till the end of this video. I'm sharing my story vulnerably with you, as I've discovered that it's through authentic sharing where you can resonate, create, and access a portal to your own profound healing. And it all starts with you, right? For the majority of my adult life, I carried a pharmacy in my backpack. Yep, I worked in the film and television industry, so I carried a backpack instead of a briefcase. But it was still considered the corporate world, right? But with a more relaxed outer appearance, which meant I would wear jeans and a nice t-shirt as opposed to a suit and a tie, and what a blessing that was, right? So I toted my backpack to the office every day, and I dipped into that pharmacy multiple times throughout the day. You see, I had a supply of Xanax for anxiety. I had Trintellix for my depression. I had Adderall for my ADHD. I had Vicodin, and then I had oxycodone for my pain management. And then I had Ambien to go to sleep at night. What a crazy life, right? So I look back now, and I can't believe that I was pumping my body with that many synthetic drugs and spending hundreds of hours in various psychologists' offices and tens of thousands of dollars on all of it. And not to mention, I had a drinking problem, which I didn't think was a problem until it became a big one, a huge one. You see, the antidepressants that I took ranged from Paxil to Prozac to Wellbutrin, back to Paxil, Trintellix, and a myriad of other antidepressants that I never took long enough to even remember their name, right? There's so many of them. So my money fed that psychiatric and big pharma machine for well over 2 decades. And oddly enough, my demeanor seemed like quite calm and easygoing on the outside and fun-loving, right? It's like 90% of the time. But on the inside, I was riddled with stress, fear, anxiety, sadness, worry, doubt, and uncertainty. And without question, I was decaying from the inside out, and the vultures were circling above, just waiting for my last breath to be taken. You see, I was absolutely under the spell and hypnotic trance that the outside world of appearances and effects imparts upon us all. As a human beings, it's so easy just to get wrapped up in the material world, thinking that everything outside of us will supply us with the happiness and the success and the sense of security that we're so desperately seeking and craving. And how could it not be, right? We're constantly bombarded with these messages via marketing, entertainment, news, and social media, classrooms. In fact, unless you're living in a Buddhist monastery, everyone is exposed to these messages. And like the majority of the human population, I bought into everything they were and still are selling. Therefore, I continued to charge ahead and chasing that dream, right? So I'd work harder and longer, made more money in the multiple 6-figure range, and as my salary increased, my external world reflected that opulence with like nicer homes and cars and TVs and fancy restaurants and lavish vacations. All of these things were nice, and they made me happy for a short period of time. But inevitably, the excitement dissipated and depression would start to parade its ugly head. And that's no problem, right? I got a cure for that. Get back to the grind. Churn out more money so I could buy even nicer things and go into fancier restaurants and take more extravagant trips. Indeed, I had definitely become acquainted with a particular lifestyle, and I had to keep that money machine firing on all pistons, as I was clearly buying my happiness, which wasn't even evident to me at the time. So when my deep-seated misery would creep up to the surface again, I'd take another pill, and I'd have another drink to throw more proverbial dirt on those feelings and bury them back down, deep down in the darkness, away from the light. So subsequently, it was back to work, working harder, making more money, and buying even more fake joy. And I would rinse and repeat this vicious cycle again and again and again. So it's no wonder that my addictions and I steered the plane of my existence into the tip of a mountain and clipped both wings, tumbled into a free fall without a parachute, slid down the entire mountain with sparks flying as I scraped the surface of the proverbial rock bottom. And then, with much shame, regret, and remorse, everything came to an abrupt halt. See, I was alive, but barely. In what seemed like an instant, a flash in time, I lost all the things that I thought was everything. My job, my home, my partner, and all of my money was next. You see, my addictions were an exploration of the dark, and I was at a crossroads to give up and die, or start shining a light where the dark was dwelling. And it was a dense, thick mass of ominous fog eclipsing my light, and I needed more than a flashlight. I needed a lighthouse to pierce the veil of darkness and help me navigate what appeared to be the treacherous shores of my inner being. And the funny thing is, all along, I had a still small voice inside of me that was trying to poke through all the noise of the external world. But with so many external devices at work, that deep down voice was being muted. But fortunately, in the depths of my despair and seemingly unredeemable existence, that still small voice started to become audible again. And I finally chose to listen. And at first it was very faint, and I couldn't quite interpret it. Everything that voice was sharing with me, as the clamor of the external world was still a little too loud. But what I did manage to receive was an intuitive nudge to turn within. And I wasn't sure how to go about that process, but that still small voice poked through one more time and clearly said, meditation. I said, what? Meditation? I mean, over the years, I had heard of all the benefits a meditation could provide, and I thought it was all like a heap of nonsense, right? Besides, I didn't have the time to meditate. I was too busy, and my days were chock full of too many tasks to slow down and invite any sort of peace and clarity into my life. Silly, right? But little did I know that having a daily meditation practice could have prevented me from hitting that rock bottom and losing my life savings and investments and job, basically everything. But it turns out that wasn't my journey, and I chose the challenging way of learning the lessons I needed to learn. And I'm just thankful that I didn't shed my mortal coil and transition into the invisible, in other words, death. Now, I know that was an experience I signed up for, whether I was aware of it or not. My soul was guiding me there. Today, as I share my story with you, I can say with absolute joy and peace in my heart that I am completely free of alcohol and pharmaceutical drugs. And if you would have asked me 3 years ago if I ever would have seen myself not needing an anti-anxiety medication or an anti-depression medication, I would have responded with a resounding no. I'm always going to need those medications. I tried too many times to stop and the symptoms always resurfaced, and in the ugliest of ways. It actually made me quite sad to think that I will always need these medications for the rest of my life. I also couldn't fathom the possibility of being free of depression and anxiety, right? So the medications just made sense to me. The funny thing is, all the drugs and all the psychological therapy in the world could have never freed me from my dis-eases. The truth is, I had to experience a death, a passing of my old life, in order to experience a rebirth and healing, to leave all my old ways of living behind. And that healing that I speak of was not a psychological or medical healing, no. I had tried that approach for nearly 3 decades, 30 years. No, it was a spiritual path to healing that had to transpire for me to create a most needed, profound, and lasting change. And it is my sincere hope that you don't have to sink to the depths that I did and experience a death of your old life to wake up from the hypnotic trance. In fact, it is my hope and intention that by sharing my experiences and simple spiritual practices, that they will serve as a cooperative component in guiding you through and creating an awakening into higher realms of consciousness and ways of being in the world. And for me, that path to healing started with something that was drug-free, doesn't cost you a penny, always available, and you can do it anytime and almost anywhere. And that remedy is meditation and prayer and sacred service. But this simple act of meditation and daily practice opened up the spiritual floodgates for me, created a pathway to true and lasting healing. And everything that happens for you, my friends, good or bad, is a blessing and is happening for you. And I didn't see it at the time, but now I can clearly see the contrast between being asleep in that hypnotic trance and being awake. And it's all about getting back to the essence of you, who you truly are, a spiritual being having a human incarnation and experience. See, this entire journey of life is such a gift, and now I can look back and see all the blessings that were embedded in the seeming chaos that was my life. It is with immense gratitude and appreciation and love that I'm still alive now, more than ever, and I'm able to share these insights, realizations, and revelations with all of you beautiful souls. If this message resonated with you, please like, subscribe, and share this content and this message with someone that it could have a profound impact with. And if you're feeling called to walk a more spiritual path, or perhaps you've had an awakening and are going through another dark night of the soul, however it shows up for you, I'd love to connect. I do donation-based calls to support you in walking the path. And if you like group sharing environments, we have a weekly group gathering on Zoom called the 99 Infinite Supply Club. And we love to connect with you and co-create with you there. From my experience, it's through the power of group sharing that we help put the pieces of the puzzle back together. So we'd love to co-create with you in that magical space. And so just click on the link in my description to sign up for a one-on-one call and or to join our 99 Infinite Supply Club. We're all connected, my friends, and we're all in this together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I love you from the depths of my soul. I'm Hoot Atman Das, and I love vibrating with the divine, always, in all ways. Namaste humbly, my friends.